Somebody said, oh yes, he will. Now, since you've been doing it for them, and since I don't have mine yet, if you don't mind, would you do it for me? Heal me. Restore me. Revive me. Bless me with increase. Strengthen me from my inner man. If he did it for them, it lets me know that you're in the vicinity. It lets me know that you're in the neighborhood. So while you're in the neighborhood, oh God, do it for me. I declare I'll give you all the honor, all the glory, all the praise. And I'll mess the enemy up and declare there can't nobody do me like Jesus. All the people of God said, amen. We are in a tough series.
Yes. That's all right.
The series is entitled That Doesn't Sound Right. And it deals with the hard sayings of the Bible. Where it seems like God is uncaring. Where it seems like God is too demanding. It seems like being a Christian is optional. It seems like if I don't have to, I don't have to. But then in the B part it says I have to. And I'm trying to wrestle with, should I or should I? Is he giving me leeway? Because we're in a season where the Bible says in 2 Timothy 4, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but will turn away their ears from the truth and be turned to fables. So we're wrestling with tough sayings, so that there are no excuses. So that when God sees us, we can't say, I didn't even know. That we can't say, my pastor never even talked about that one. You can't even judge me about that one. The pastor never even said nothing about that. He never said I couldn't drink. He never said I couldn't smoke. He never said I couldn't go to the club. He never said I couldn't strip down the pole. He never said none of that. He was just about that money. But today is the day. All excuses get taken away. And I'm kind of intimidated by this one today myself. In Matthew the 15th chapter, verses 10 and 11. Matthew 15, verses 10 and 11. We stand just to honor the word of God in-house. For those of you online, we are so glad that you chose to worship with us on today. Whatever country, whatever continent, state or city, man or woman came, we are glad that you're celebrating with us today. Matthew the 15th chapter. Matthew the 15th chapter, verses 10 and 11. Good to see you, Pastor Robbie. It says that he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand. Not that which goeth into the mouth defiles a man, but that which comes out of the mouth, this defiles a man. And I want to use as a subject on today, I'm not going to church. I'm not going to church. You ain't got to say amen, but you can be seated. We're going to try to make it make sense. I'm not going to church. Our wrestling moment today is similar to last week, and that both entail making a decision that affects your life. Last week it was a decision that affected your eternity. This week it's a decision that affects your existence. The common denominator is that both decisions indicate that God has given us a choice in the matter. That we have a choice in where we will spend our future eternity, and we have a choice in how we currently exist. And I have one assignment on today, and that is to make sure that we all have the information needed to choose wisely. The curtains open up on the text with Jesus being confronted by some Pharisees and religious leaders from Jerusalem who feel like Jesus and the disciples are out of order. Historically, the Jewish religion attempted to keep humanity religiously and morally clean by coming up with thousands and thousands of rules and regulations that govern their behavior, and you had to keep them stringently. If you did not keep them stringently, you were out of order, you were unclean, and you were a perpetrator. And because of this kind of external religion, it focused on what a person did that everybody could see. It focused on everything a person did that everybody could see. And they were charging Jesus and the disciples up because one of the rules stated that it was a sin if you didn't wash your hands before you ate. And evidently they saw Jesus or some of the disciples eating and hadn't washed their hands first. So when they charged Jesus out, Jesus said, watch this, Jesus said, you keep focusing on what you can see. And you keep saying that defiles a man. I'm telling you, it's not what you can see that's going into a person that defiles them. It's what comes out. Wow. Now, for the record, Jesus did not require his disciples to perform the Pharisaical act, the traditional act, the ritual act of washing hands before eating, because the Pharisees had elevated this act to a level of doctrine. In other words, they said, if you didn't wash your hands right, you sinned. And so the way they washed hands, they put it in a special cup and they washed it 3 times. Right. And if you didn't put it in a special cup and wash your hands 3 times, you sinned. They felt that if a speck of dirt got on your food and you ate it, you sinned. Jesus saying, y'all tripping. Jesus said, y'all are trying to make something a doctrine that I never intended to be a doctrine. I ain't saying you don't need to wash your hands. I'm saying you don't need to do it like that. Watch this. Because Jesus did not act externally like he was religious. And the disciples didn't act externally like they were religious. The Pharisees and religious leaders had a problem with them because they didn't see them acting the way they thought they. Okay, let me see if I can make it. It was a group of some holy individuals who had died and gone to heaven, and they was waiting in the waiting room. They were waiting in the waiting room for judgment, and they were just chilling. They were just chilling. Then all of a sudden, some more people started coming in the room, and they knew the people coming in the room, y'all. They knew the people coming in the room because they had seen some stuff that they had done before they had died, and some of the people coming in the room, they were like, wait a minute, I saw her on the corner. But wait a minute, I know he's done time because I'm the judge that's sitting in jail for, and there, I know they ain't no good because I saw what they did. And so this group comes in, and now the Holy group is looking at the group that came in on side-eye talking about, I know it's all over the left. I know they not getting in. I know they not. And so they were just waiting, and now they're getting upset. They said, now why is it taking them so long while we waiting in the judgment room? We need to hurry up so we can get away from them, because I don't even like being in the same room with them. I don't even like being close to them. I don't even like being. And so all of a sudden, Jesus comes in the room, comes in the judgment room, and Jesus says, hey y'all, and they said, hey Jesus, where you been? He said, oh, I was just trying to give y'all some time. He said, give us some time for what? Jesus said, well, I was just listening to your conversation. I heard when you asked the people that came in later than y'all, you asked them why I should let them into heaven, and they said because they trusted in my grace and mercy. But when they asked you why I should let you into heaven, you said because you've been so good. And I was waiting to see if what they did was going to rub off on you. But since you didn't change and we in the judgment room, you judged yourself. You judged yourself. You thought I couldn't love them. You thought I couldn't save them. You thought my blood wasn't good enough. You thought when I suffered and died and got up, it wasn't enough for them. And you thought you could work your way in. And I delayed my coming into the judgment room to give you enough time to change your mind. But since you didn't change your mind, since you still all judgy, depart from me. Because I never knew you. Jesus then turns to those who had lived a messed up life. Did all kinds of stuff. If you can think of it, they did it. He said, but because you accepted my grace and my mercy, enter into the joy of the Lord. Did y'all see what just happened? Did you see that one group was defiled not by what went into their mouth? And did you see that one group was redeemed by what came out of their mouth? This is so interesting for me because I wrestled with this all week, and it went into this morning that God revealed to me something that I hadn't seen before. God said the reason why it's not what goes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out of their mouth is because the heart is not fed through what is taken in the mouth, but by what enters in through the ears. The writer of Proverbs backs me up. He says, as a man thinks in their heart, so is he. What you say with your mouth is not a byproduct of what went into your stomach, but what went in through your ears. When God showed me this, all of a sudden I understood why Jesus wasn't having it with the Pharisees when they tried to charge him and the disciples up about washing hands. Jesus understood the Pharisees, the holy individuals, the religious leaders wanted to make washing hands a religious issue. When Jesus was telling them it wasn't a religious issue, this is bigger than that. Here it is. Jesus said, this is not about washing. This is about worshiping. You're attempting to make washing a form of worship. But Jesus is saying worship comes from relationship, not from religion. That you will never have relationship as long as you attach relationship with religion. My relationship is only attached through worship. Okay.
Yes.
If these Pharisees and religious leaders were here today, they would be diagnosed as having a spiritual heart disease.
Yes. All right.
I looked up heart disease, and the medical terminology for it is cardiovascular disease. Externally, you can tell a person with spiritual cardiovascular disease because there are 3 symptoms associated with it: gossip, griping, and grudges. The 3 G's. Gossip, griping, and grudges. Matthew 15:19 says, out of the heart comes evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, theft, false witnesses, and slanders. If we were in a spiritual doctor's office, the next question would be, doctor, is there a cure for spiritual cardiovascular disease? The answer is yes. Take 1 dose of James 5:16 in the morning. The effectual fervent prayers of the righteous avail much. Take 1 dose of Colossians 3:12 through 14 at noon. So chosen by God for this new life of love, dressed in the wardrobe God picked out for you. Compassion, kindness, humility, quiet strength, discipline, be even tempered, content with second place, quick to forgive an offense. Forgive as quickly and completely as the Master forgave you. And regardless of what else you put on, wear love. It's your basic all-purpose garment. Never be without it. That's the Message version. Then take 1 dose of Psalm 51, 10 through 12 at night. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew in me a right spirit. Don't take your joy away from me. Don't take your Holy Spirit away from me, but restore unto me the joy of thy salvation and uphold me with your Holy Spirit.
There it is.
You're speaking real good, sir.
Jesus is saying, I didn't come to wash. I came to worship. And notice that Matthew was intentional about telling us where these Pharisees and religious leaders came from who were confronting Jesus. They came from Jerusalem. They came from the 3rd holiest city after Mecca and Medina. They came from Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. They came from Jerusalem, a holy place of worship. But these Pharisees and religious leaders wanted to talk about washing hands, and Jesus wanted to talk about worshiping hearts. They wanted to talk about washing hands, and Jesus wanted to talk about worshiping hearts. They wanted to talk about washing hands, and Jesus wanted to talk about worshiping hearts.
Have mercy.
Jesus was intentionally identifying some things that people had gotten twisted. Not only was Jesus not interested in washing hands, but worshiping hearts, Jesus wanted them to understand that church and worship are not the same. Many of us have been led to believe and think that church and worship are synonymous, but they're different. 1 Corinthians 6:19, Paul says, our bodies are the temple of the Holy Ghost. God, I felt that. That our bodies, watch this, that we are the church. That we are the ecclesia. That we are the called out. That we are, you are the church. That changes everything. Because believers, if they are the church, do not go to church. They come to worship. When you get up in the morning, your thought process should not be, I'm going to church. Because you are the church. Your thought process should be, I'm going to worship God. give God the worth he deserves. It means every time you think about the goodness of Jesus and think about the worth he deserves, you ought to praise him. That worship does not start on Sunday. It starts when you wake up. It starts when the car starts. It starts when you cash a check. It starts when your babies graduate. It starts when you say, I do. Your worship should not start when you think about church, because you are. How many of us came today trying to find a church when we should have been coming?
That's the word.
Well, what are the practical steps of worship? Since Pastor, I got to tell you, I ain't never worshiped before I've been coming to church. I've been coming to church all this time because didn't nobody tell me I was supposed to be coming to worship. Now I'm confused. Now this is my first day of worship, Pastor. How do I come to worship? Good question. The first thing you do is to always take responsibility for your experience of worship.
There it is.
Take responsibility for your experience of worship. In other words, it don't even matter what nobody else on your row is doing, because you didn't even come for them. You didn't come for them. You came to give God his word. So take responsibility. The second thing, show up before or on time. You can't tell God I love you and I'm giving you word and come strolling in here halfway through service. You can't say God you worthy and just come in here like days ago. You can't say God is worthy and God has blessed me and God has saved me and God has done wonderful things in my life and treat God secondhand. You don't get to work late. Now to keep your job, you know. You don't disrespect your boss, and when he calls a meeting, and just come in there when you feel like it's like, hey, what's up? If you're going to worship, you have to take responsibility for your experience of worship. And that starts with getting to worship before or on time. It makes no sense. Nobody came in here rolling on no wheelchair.
Hallelujah.
We got a person that was on the cave got here on time. We got to do better as believers. I'm not fussing, I'm facing. I'm trying to tell you how to experience worship and show God you're worthy, God. I got here early because you're worthy. I bless you because you're worthy. I'm standing with nobody else standing because I had a flashback how good you've been because you are.
You are worthy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
This worship experience is not even about you. That's where the church got it twisted. This ain't about you. This is about him. He kept you all week. At this moment and this time, all you got to be doing is saying, God, I just thank you. If you never do another thing, you have already. And what happens when you begin to exalt him and magnify him, he'll say, well, why are you blessing me? I think I'm going to bless you back. Just because I can. Just because I heard you tell me you love me. I'm going to show you how much I love you. Practical steps of worship.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is an insult to God
Yes, it is.
when we come to worship unprepared.
All right.
Yes, sir. That's good.
Somebody said, well, what do you mean unprepared? Okay, let's put it like this. If you're going to meet a CEO, you were prepared before you walked in that office. If you was going for if you were going for a job interview, for the job that you wanted, you were prepared for the job. Well, if you're going to come to worship, you ought to be prepared to worship. But what does that mean? That means start before you get here. That means start, watch this. Sunday worship should begin when you leave Sunday worship. Then in the middle of the week, it ought to intensify. Then around Friday or Saturday, when you've been listening to spiritual songs, when you've been digesting the word of God, by the time you get here Sunday, by the time you get here Sunday, I know this ain't usual preaching, but by the time you get here Sunday, you done practice all week. You done practice your shout. You done practice your praise. You done practice your worship. And you just can't wait to show God, look at what I've been working on, God. Look at this praise right here, God. Look at this praise right here, God. Thank you for being so wonderful.
That's a good word, Pastor. That's a good word. Come on, now. Come on. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Bless
it
him.
is.
Bless him.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna let y'all go home. Here we go.
You take your time.
We've addressed what defiles a person. We've addressed the importance of what comes out of a person's mouth. We addressed religion versus relationship. We addressed judgment versus grace. We've addressed washing versus worshiping. Let's put it all together.
Ooh, that's a word.
This is a true story.
Ooh, that's a word.
It's a girl in Traverse City, Michigan. Grew up on a farm, a rural area. Her family loved the Lord. She and her father had this really, really close relationship. And they used to play a silly game, Mount Pleasant, where they would listen to each other's heart.
Okay.
And then they would say, I know the rhythm of your heart because it beats like mine. Oh, ain't that good?
Well,
Then she grew up. In her teenage years, she started experimenting with a little weed, a little puff here, a little puff there, here puff, there puff, everywhere puff. Started experimenting with a little alcohol. Started to get out of order, out of control. Tony and they said, look, we love you, but you can't be doing that. You need to scale down. And one day in a fit of anger, it boiled over. And she said, I hate you. Packed her clothes, got on the train and went to Detroit. Got to Detroit, was doing everything she wanted to do because now she had no limitations. Got into some bad stuff, make a long story short, she started getting sick. When she got sick, everybody that she was hanging with left her. So now she's homeless in Detroit. Homeless, dirty, hungry. True story. And she's sitting by a trash can, waiting for people to throw food in the trash. And she said, you know, I gotta do something. I'm just gonna take a chance. I'm gonna call home. But when she calls home, don't nobody answer. It goes to her answer machine. So she leaves a message. She says, hey, it's me. And I want to come home. I'm coming on the train, but if you don't want me, don't be at the train stop. I'll be looking out the window, and if you're not there, I'll just stay on the train. But she doesn't even know if they got the message or not.
Right.
But she gets on the train anyway. And she says, you know what? I got to think of this apology that's gonna make him take me back. I got to think of something because I messed up. Because the last thing I told him was that I hate him. She's on the train for hours, and all of a sudden the conductor says 15 minutes to Traverse City. She's like, okay, I gotta go over it again. I gotta make sure I got it right. I gotta make sure I got it right. Then she said, you know what? I don't even know why I'm doing this. I told him I had done it. If it was me, I wouldn't take me back. She put her head down. The train stops, and she said, man, I messed up my whole life. She looked out the window. She did not see her mother or her father. She saw some cousins. She saw some uncles. She saw some aunts. She saw her grandfather with a big old sign saying, welcome home, baby. She gets out the train. She said, ah! And then all of a sudden, coming through the crowd, her mom and daddy. Her daddy beats the mama. And she starts to tell the apology. She said, I've been working on this apology. She starts to tell the apology, and her father says, shh. He takes her hand and puts on his heart. He takes her hand and puts on his. And he says, your heart still beats like mine. Somebody said, you don't even know, Master. You don't know what I've done. God told me to tell you, your heart still beats like his.
Yes, God, we love you.
As the doors of the church are open, as you stand to your feet, if you're here,